Good afternoon. It's Friday, June 23rd, and it's Nick Patak, the Arizona sports fan who's actually from Arizona and is going to talk about the Phoenix Suns draft 2017 and the future of the Suns. I think it was a phenomenal draft. The Suns have always needed defense. That's really what we need. You take a guy, Josh Jackson, who arguably could have gone first overall. Josh is extremely good at everything except shooting the basketball. He's not the best two-point shooter, three-point shooter, or free throw shooter. Everything else he's pretty good at. He's a great defender. He's extremely athletic. He's good in transition. He's a decent facilitator. He can rebound the ball. He can pass a little bit. And he can block some shots and get steals. Plays passing lanes well. He reminds me a little bit of Shawn Marion with a little more hope to have a better jump shot. The Suns have T.J. Warren as a small forward who really does one thing pretty well. He puts the ball in the hole. I think he'll make a good off-the-bench sixth man with Tyler Ulis that can really provide a good scoring punch off the bench going forward. I'm happy to see T.J. Warren on the bench. I still would like T.J. Warren as part of the core if he doesn't get the idea that he deserves starters minutes because he's not a starter. He's a bench small forward who can light it up off the bench. Josh Jackson pairs with Devin Booker tremendously. He is a phenomenal fit next to Devin Booker. Devin is not good on defense. Devin is great on offense. He can score the ball. He can drive it to the basket. He can shoot threes. Devin Booker can really do it all. And the Suns got lucky getting him in the 13th pick. And lucky, actually, that Coach Calipari didn't play him like they should have. And Booker, Jackson, and now Marquise Chris together, Dragan Bender, Tyler Ulis, T.J. Warren off the bench. You're building a young core that's young and actually pretty nasty in terms of toughness, grit, and the tenacity. Josh Jackson's quote saying, "I'm going to make everybody pay for not drafting me, and I am a tough guy," is exciting. I'm glad they didn't take Jason Tatum, although I think he's a great scorer and a great shooter. I think down the road you can get maybe a better point guard, maybe somebody who is an explosive shooter. Maybe you can try to go for a guy like a Damian Lillard type point guard if you're not convinced Eric Bledsoe's the right guy. But the Suns, I think the draft with Jackson was a good pick. He was the fourth pick. Davon Reed is a 3-and-D type player. He brings toughness. He's got a really long wingspan. Not familiar too much with him. Draft prognosticators really thought he was a late second-round pick, so maybe a little bit of a reach. I would have liked to see, I'm going to butcher this name, Semi Ojeleye from SMU, or Jordan Bell, who's from Oregon, who's probably one of the best defenders in the draft. I wanted more defense because the Suns can score the basketball. They've always been able to score the basketball. Eric Bledsoe can score the ball. T.J. Warren can score. Devin Booker can flat out score. Marquise Chris can score. We can score. We just need to stop people. And it's more defense, the better. And so then the next guy, Alec Peters, supposedly was a late first-round pick potential. He dropped to the late second round because of an injury, and so maybe it's a little bit of a steal. Maybe he makes the team. Going forward, the Phoenix Suns are smart not to contend with the Golden State Warriors because no one's beating them for the next few years. Some team like the Boston Celtics, the San Antonio Spurs, maybe the Oklahoma City Thunder, some team is going to try to beat up with them. Maybe Cleveland tries to add one more piece if they can. But Golden State, it's going to be a few years before anybody really has a chance to knock them off. We could be witnessing a run like the 96 Bulls, like the 80s Lakers, like those Celtics teams that won 6 championships. It could be that bad for the league. Because if you have Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Kevin Durant, and you can afford all 4, and you can have a decent enough bench, I don't know how you stop that. So the Suns are smart to delay the contending window until 2020. I'm extremely happy that Ryan McDonough did not give in to the dumb idea to draft or to trade a pick for like LaMarcus Aldridge or Kevin Love or any of these decent, pretty good players right now, but we don't need to win now. There's no point to win now. I want to win later. I want to win in 2020 and actually have a real shot at winning something that we've never had, a championship. I want a championship. I want a real contender. And the teams that are contending in the next decade, which is what you need to build for, the Phoenix Suns, Los Angeles Lakers, Minnesota Timberwolves, Philadelphia 76ers, and maybe the Milwaukee Bucks. Those are the 5 teams I see that are going to start really building something nice and are building something nice for the future. That you got to play for 2020. We're not playing for 2018 or 2019. This is the time to let it gel, and we need to keep up with the Sixers, the Timberwolves, the Lakers, and the Bucks, and maybe any other young team. The Celtics probably, Celtics actually should be good for a while. I mean, they've got a lot of assets, so the Celtics are up there too. Let's see, overall, Phoenix, the question is, do you keep Eric Bledsoe? Bledsoe's 27, got 2 bad knees. His value might be pretty close to max value. If you can get something, I know there's a trade rumor, Emmanuel Mudiay, the 13th pick for Eric Bledsoe. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I truly would not be. I think Bledsoe selling high and avoiding another knee injury could be smart. But at the same time, Bledsoe's only 27. It's not ancient. It's not that old. And, he'll be out of his prime by, 33, 34, 35? So you've got another 6, 7, 8 years with Bledsoe where the team will gel, and maybe he is your point guard. Maybe he's your guy. And the only thing I don't like the most about Bledsoe is he plays at times choppy. He doesn't always have a smooth flow to his game. He can be a little ball dominant. And I think we need someone a little bit with more, Bledsoe definitely has natural point guard ability, but it just looks a little bit forced. Like Brandon Knight isn't a true point guard, and it's obvious I don't think he has a future on this team at all. So he'll be gone, and then Bledsoe could be gone. The 2 positions now, you think, if Booker's your 2, Jackson's your 3, Chris is your 4, and then you've got backups like Ulis at the backup point guard, T.J. Warren as a backup small forward, and you got Dragon Bender, who hopefully will develop as a big, maybe a stretch big. Maybe you have Bender at the 5, but it depends if this positionless NBA continues to go. I'm so ingrained in the thought that eventually we'll go back and revert to the mean and have big men and we'll have a normal game again. But this may be how the NBA goes. This may be, the Golden State broke the mold that the Phoenix Suns first started, which was run and gun, and then Golden State realized you have to play defense, you have to be tough, and you have to rebound the basketball and have some guys who actually play defense. That's why the Golden State Warriors did what the Suns could not do and win championships, because they were tougher, had better defenders, and I guess more talent. That always helps, but it's a little bit of a digression. So I think the draft was pretty good. Give it an A-. I would have liked maybe somebody else as the 32nd pick. But hey, great draft. I mean, getting Josh Jackson in the 4th pick, I'm glad Ryan McDonough didn't have to panic and Robert Sarver we're not forcing it. Signing some guy like, there's a rumor on the radio, John Gambadoro, Arizona Sports, who's great, I have a lot of respect for. They're saying that the Suns have interest in signing Paul Millsap for like a 2-year deal. I don't get the point of that. I don't get the point. We're not going to win anything with Paul Millsap. I think he's a great player. I think Paul Millsap should go sign with Oklahoma City, or Paul Millsap should go sign with the San Antonio Spurs. Paul Millsap should go join a contender. He shouldn't sign with the Phoenix Suns if we even have interest. He's going to stunt the growth of Marquise Chris. I want Marquise Chris to get those minutes, and I want Dragon Bender to get those minutes and see if we have something with those guys, which Chris, it looks like we do. Bender, to be seen. We should not sign any veterans like that. We should keep Jared Dudley around, I think, just as veteran leadership. Let Leandro Barbosa go. Get rid of Brandon Knight. Let's see, who else can we get rid of? Oh, hot topic. Alex Len. Alex Len, the question is, do you get rid of Alex Len? What is the downside to keeping Alex Len another year or two if he agrees on a 2-year deal? If the market's not that hot for Alex Len, because he's drastically underperformed so far as the 5th pick in the draft, but everybody in that 2013 draft underperformed. What's the downside to keeping him? I don't think there's much downside. So, because you're not contending now, and your upside is he could finally develop in the next couple of years into that guy. I know he hasn't gotten it in the first, 4 years? Okay, but also you can't cut his minutes short as a backup center. He should be a starting center, and let's see what he can do. If he sucks after a year or two and he's a 2-year deal, then we won't get him. But I want him back. 2-year deal, $15 million a year. I know it's a lot for Alex Len, But I'd rather take a flyer on our guy that we drafted and see what he can do and give him 35 minutes a game and have Tyson on the bench. I'm talking like 10 minutes a game and let Alex be the guy. Go full youth movement. Bledsoe, Booker, Jackson, Chris, Len as your starting five. Have Tyson and Dudley be the two veteran leaders of the team. And let's see what you got in Davon Reed as a backup shooting guard. Get rid of Brandon Knight because he's not going to have a good attitude being on the bench. And he needs to. I would trade Brandon Knight to Brooklyn and get a trade exception and maybe a first-round pick or something down the road for Brandon Knight and just call it a day, and that's a big loss. The Suns made a huge mistake trading for Brandon Knight. Think about this. The Phoenix Suns had that pick the Philadelphia 76ers had. That was from the Lakers. That pick that we got for Steve Nash back in the day. That was that Steve Nash pick. And to think that we could have had the third pick in the draft. We could have taken, I know Markelle Fultz and Lonzo Ball went 1-2, but you could have taken, De'Aaron Fox. Or you could have had Jonathan Isaac as well. Or, you could have had, you wouldn't take Jason Tatum and Josh Jackson, I guess, but you could have had Jason Tatum. If you feel that he's in this positionless league, maybe you think it's small ball lineup and you take Tatum and Jackson. I don't know. But you could have had another lottery pick, but that's down the road. It's a digression. Get rid of Brandon Knight. Get rid of Leandro Barbosa. Re-sign Alex Len, 2-year deal, maybe $14-15 million a year. What's the problem with doing it? I'd rather sign Alex Len for 2 years, $14 million a year, $13 million, whatever it takes to sign him for 2 years and see if we got something, and then dump him if he's not any good. Keep Alan Williams on the team. I like his spirit. I think he's a great guy, and he has some talent. And this team is going to be fun to watch. I'm excited. Finally, the Suns seem like, and give Ryan McDonough a contract extension. I think he does know what he's doing. The fact that he was in on it to get Josh Jackson to not work out for the Boston Celtics. In Boston, I think it did take the right player. Jason Tatum scores. They need scorers. They have a lot of tough guys. They need somebody who can light it up, a Paul Pierce-like guy. So I think it worked out for both parties, but supposedly Ryan McDonough, the general manager of the Suns, had a hand in helping Josh Jackson avoid a workout. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited for the Suns. I am a fan of one last top 5 pick. I want them to tank again, and this is why. DeAndre Ayton is coming out after 1 year. He'll be at the University of Arizona. He's 7 feet tall, and I either want him or I want another stud, and then let's build the core and let's go for it in 2020 to like 2026. The Suns are going to contend in the 2020 to 2026 time frame. Not 2018, not 2019. That's where we build up to that point, and then you start making your run into the playoffs and seeing what you got. I want this. We need one more guy. If Bledsoe is the point guard, and it works with everything, and we're good with Bledsoe at the point, we don't need a new point guard. So I'm not sure, but it remains to be seen. Then we need a stud center if Alex Len isn't the guy. And DeAndre Ayton is 7 feet tall and an absolute animal. So that's a guy I'd like, or maybe down the road some center comes up available and you can get him. But excited for the Phoenix Suns' future. Predictions-wise, I don't know. I just want them to be extremely competitive. I want to see the toughness, the grit, and the tenacity that Josh Jackson brings, that Marquise Chris will bring. I mean, this team's going to have an edge and an attitude and a swagger and nastiness, probably borderline where teams will hate the Phoenix Suns, because having those 3 guys, Booker, Jackson, and Chris, kind of be cocky, a little maybe arrogant, talk trash. It's going to be fun to watch as a Suns fan, because we're not used to that. We're used to being kind of a soft team, and just hope that the veteran leadership will keep them contained, keep them on that right path, that there's a difference between being tough and nasty and being Markieff Morris. Definitely don't want that again. So, excited. Suns should not make any dumb signings like trying to sign Paul Millsap and contend for an 8 seed or a 7 seed. Robert Sarver, that would indicate that Robert Sarver is only interested in making the playoffs and getting some playoff revenue, and he's thinking about the bottom line instead of the team, which would be very disappointing, but that is like Robert Sarver, so I wouldn't be shocked. No offense if you're watching this. But, hey, you know what? I'm excited for the Suns. They have a good general manager. Re-sign Ryan McDonough. Let's see what Earl Watson can do. I like the draft pick. Let's see what goes on. I think maybe the Suns will win 30 games this year, maybe 33, 34, 35. And then let's see what Alex Len can do. Biggest thing, I want them to re-sign Alex Len and see if he can perform. Because Alex is the stretch five. If he can stay healthy in some regard, he can give you 12 or 13 points a game and 10 rebounds and a couple blocks. That's not bad as a center. Let's see what he can do. Re-sign Alex Len. Get rid of Brandon Knight. Get rid of Barbosa. And let's roll. Let's make this thing happen. I'm excited to watch the Suns again. Jackson was the perfect draft pick. And my prediction is Davon Reed and Alex Peters will make the team. I think all three of those guys will make the team. Thanks for watching. This, again, was the Phoenix Suns 2017 NBA Draft Review and Next Season Review done by an Arizona sports fan who's actually from Arizona. And commentary was done by someone who's not from New York or Chicago on Arizona sports talking about the Suns. So hope you Suns fans enjoyed it. Take care and have a great summer. See ya.